Hey guys, Ryan W. here from Bearable Traders. Just wanted to do my daily recap for Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. As you can see, the market really hasn't gone very far today. It's an FOMC day, so at 2 p.m. we'll have an announcement from the Federal Reserve Chairman to see what their plan is with the economy, how the economy is doing, interest rates, all that crap. So usually on FOMC days and the day before, like I mentioned in yesterday's recap, we don't get much movement in the SPY. We typically get stuck within a range, and as you can see here, this is a very clearly defined range. And even the overnight session too, let me scroll back here, you can tell just really didn't go anywhere. I mean, it just sat in a range from yesterday's close, which is over here. So we'll see what happens at 2 p.m. when they release all the information about the meeting. Hopefully we'll get some sort of reaction either way. But in any event, let me go over what I did today. So after my recap yesterday, which was my first one ever, I noticed a couple things that I had missed. One of them was a line that I forgot to draw at the high of yesterday's range, which ended up actually making me for a very good fade, but I missed it. So what I ended up doing, just because I tend to be forgetful, I actually created a checklist, a morning checklist. And here, I'll pull that up for you guys just so you can see. Don't mind all my mess here. So basically, this checklist is a pretty straightforward, as you can see here. Just kind of some basic rules as far as what I'm looking for in the morning. I mark out on my lines. I make note of a few things here, and then what I do, one of the more important things here, is I do a quick meditation before, at the end of, after I've completed everything else, and just to center myself and just get prepared for the day ahead. Now, what I did was and there's some rules and just some other information down here. What I did was I actually laminated this checklist, and I actually taped it down to my desk, and I use a dry erase marker. So in the morning, right before the market opens, like 9:15, 9:20, I run through the checklist. I put a check, at the end of the line there under the complete column, and make sure that I verify that I finished and got everything together. Make sure I have all my lines drawn, I have all my levels marked out, that sort of deal. So that's been helpful. I think that made a big difference for me today, just to have an idea as to what to expect. So as far as trades go, at the open, you can tell here, I mean, it was just a sloppy, choppy mess. I mean, we just went absolutely nowhere. We were just stuck in no man's land. This is a 5-minute chart, mind you. So, I mean, you just talk about slop and chop, just no directionality. So my goal here was either, if we had a sell-off here down to, let me just see if I can zoom out here. So I was looking for a possible sell-off, at the open or at some point to bring us down here to the pre-market low, which is this orange line right here. And then I look to go long, off of the bounce, because usually, this is a pretty strong support area. We'd expect buyers to come in and a push up. Obviously, that didn't happen. Instead, we just chopped around. So my next idea was to go short in this zone around here. This is a fairly large zone. It's a two and a half point-ish zone between 293-ish and 295, 296. So my goal was to go short. So what I ended up doing was I actually put an order out here at 290. What was it? 292 and a half, I believe, is where my original order was supposed to be. Or I'm sorry, 294 and a half. Now what I ended up happening, and it was actually a fat finger mistake, is I accidentally put my order on the bid to buy as opposed to on the ask to sell. So I got filled, and it was for a buy order. So bit of a fat finger mistake. So I ended up letting it kind of chop around, and that was actually right around, where the hell was that? It was like right around here, I believe, right around that area. So what I ended up doing was I left the position on just to see if it would do anything, and it ended up coming up, and I took literally one tick's profit because I didn't want to tempt that fate because I knew this wasn't going to hold very well. So took one tick profit, got out of the position, and then I ended up going short. So I actually went short right around here at 27.94, I think, and a half was my actual 27.94 and a half was my original position. It was my second position for the short. And as you can see, it went up. It tested this 95. Now I had a 2.5 point stop, so I mean my stop was like all the way up here. So I wasn't too worried about it. So pulled up a little bit, and then it ended up selling off. I took off one contract right around the VWAP just because the VWAP, I mean, as you can see, it wasn't really doing much around the VWAP today, but VWAP can be a very strong level. So I said, you know what, let me just take off a contract, lock in some profit. It was like 2.5 points, nothing crazy. Took off one contract there, and then I let the second contract just kind of ride basically. I moved my stop down to break even. so that if it pulled back up, I would have at least gotten stopped out with a little bit of profit. So I was watching this area right around here. This is a high volume node, or a VPOC, volume point of control, from I believe yesterday or 2 days ago. That's what this yellow line here is. And then this red line is just a resistance level on my 60-minute chart that I picked up on. So I was watching this area, and as you can see here, we had 3 bottoming tails, and there's also actually a 200 moving average, the 200 EMA, this darker blue line here. We had 3 bottom tails here, and it held. It wasn't testing. It wasn't coming down. The buyers were holding it there. So I said, you know what? Let me take it off because this is obviously a strong area. I don't want to get caught in a wash. And sure enough, what happened? It pulled back up and actually ended up breaking up here. So I took off the position, and that's been it. Now, I've been sitting here watching today, and, basically I was looking to possibly go for a long over this 96 level, which pretty counterintuitive because obviously the action today was really looking more towards the downside. So I was tempted to take a long at 96, and I actually put an order out there, but I actually got distracted by one of my clients calling me, so I canceled the order, which is a good thing. So what ended up happening here, I was hoping that, because coming up to this level here, we had pretty decent price action. We had higher lows. We're getting a flat top. We had this major resistance level here, but the problem was, and I'm sure you can see, the volume. Look at that volume. I mean, you're talking about just a nice decline there. So I said, you know what, it doesn't look too promising. And sure enough, as a result of the crappy volume and the ineffective buyers basically, and just strong sellers up at this 2796 level, we hit it, and we've just done nothing but sell off to this other zone right around here. Now, something else to notice too, which I like to do, is I draw trend lines on the tick and the ADD, the advanced decline line. So I use these to help determine, what's the probability or possibility of price action continuing higher, going nowhere, or selling off. And one thing I've been looking at, and I have to spend more time with this, using Andrew's techniques, looking for ABCD patterns, that sort of deal in the ADD. I don't know how strong that is, how well that will work for this style of trading, but it's something to be mindful of. Really, like I said, I've just been drawing trend lines here, horizontal trend lines, and of course, diagonal trend lines, just to kind of get, gauge an idea of what's going to happen. So this is right here at 11:30, and here we are at 11:30, and look what happened. We broke the trend line here on the ADD to the downside, and sure enough, look what happened to the ES. It couldn't obviously get to that major resistance right there. ADD, which was the broader market, the different stocks on the NYSE started selling off, and here we go. Nice sell-off. So using the ADD like this can be really helpful just to confirm your your strategy, or confirm what your profit targets are, your entry exit path, whatever it is you're looking to do. The ADD can help with that. And obviously the tick just kind of gives us an idea of the bias for the day. We opened up pretty much neutral, and then we sold off down here. And funny enough, at this time where the tick was below the 0 line, we were kind of in this choppy mess. And then, we went back up, which, signifies this upright, this move here. And then we've since just slowly gone down. You can draw a trend line right there, and you can see it has been able to make new high extremes on the tick. And here we are at the 0 level, and we are just below it and just kind of riding down to this minus 600 extreme. So, rest of the day, kind of going to expect a sideways chop. 2 o'clock, the meeting, information will be released. So we'll see if the market decides to react. I'm sure it will one way or the other. But we'll have to see what happens. From a psychological perspective today, I woke up in a fairly good mood this morning. I had some distractions from clients first thing, which is always throws me off, unfortunately, first thing in the morning. But I think I was able to handle it pretty well. And I just I use this checklist. The real key today, or real trick today, the difficult part for me today was patience. And as you can see, there was just nothing going on here. You're just talking about nothing but a range, a consolidation, just choppy price action. And that's something that in times past, let me just zoom in here. In times past, I would let myself get so get chopped to hell, because I would, go short here, buy here, go short, whatever it was I was doing, just because I was waiting, I was anticipating or hoping for a certain move, but it wouldn't happen. Now that I'm waiting for price to really test these levels and give me clear indication, along with using the ADD and the tick and the other concepts that I've been working through, allowed me to wait out the trade. And I know I mentioned this in yesterday's recap. you really have to be patient. And I have that sticky note: be patient, wait for the setup, because when you try to force something that's not there, you're going to get chopped up and just lose money. And I'm not about that anymore. I think that's kind of in my past now, and I really need to just focus on continuing to develop my my strategies and just bettering as a bettering myself as a trader. So, waiting for today was a real test of patience, but the patient, being patient paid off. Like I said, I mean, I took this short here, and granted, it wasn't a major move. I was hoping for it to test, the pre-market low, which is out of sight here on this chart. But, I was really hoping for it to continue down. But hey, you know what? I think about 2.5, 3 points in total out of it, which, hey, that's not bad. I'll take that any day, all day, every day. That's a couple $100 right there easily on on a couple of contracts. So, I think waiting for that patient setup is the way to go. And obviously, this was a clear short right here, and all the other indications were there. But I was distracted looking at other stuff. So so far this week has been a good week for me. I've been sticking to my rules. I've been patient, which is not easy. Yesterday I had a couple of hiccups, and today, of course, that fat finger mistake didn't help. But hey, I still managed a profit on that. And really, in reading Brett Steenbarger's book, Enhancing Trader Performance, and this just comes from other people as well. Andrew has said the same thing. It's not about the profits, especially in the beginning. You're just trying to get the strategy down. You're trying to get the handle on the process and the mechanics, and also learning to handle your emotions, because one trap I always fall into is if I don't have profit for the day, my day is ruined. Even if I'm only down a few dollars or within my max stop loss, I just freak out. My day is ruined. My wife comes home, she could tell I'm in a bad mood, and it's just not good. And that's just because I don't have a profit. But if I traded properly that day and I just unfortunately made poor timing decisions or just a mistake, that's life. That's part of trading. You're going to have days like that where you you had the right idea, but your timing was wrong, or some big seller came in and just said the hell with this, and everything went to hell. That's just part of the game. And yes, having profit for the day is important, and it makes you feel good. But the real key in all this is trading well, and that's something that is really a big component to this game that I think a lot of us struggle with, myself especially. And I've been learning to get better with it, and it's something that will come in due time. And something else to mention, I'm sure some of you are probably wondering. I know you've been asking about the whole, what's this with futures and how do we make this work and all that other stuff. But basically, my impetus for this was a friend of mine, expressed his interest in this, and that he started, trading futures, and he said, "Oh, it's so much smoother, it's an easier market," and this, that, and the other. So, I'll check it out. And sure enough, I do find it to be a slower moving market, and it definitely trades very technically, which is something I prefer. And that's something that Brett Steenbarger has mentioned in both of his books, the Daily Trading Coach and Enhancing Trader Performance, is that you may be in a market or using an instrument that is not really meant for you. We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, and you want to play into your strengths, not into your weaknesses. And if you're more analytical, you're going to want something that's slower moving, that require you can put more time in maybe swing trading or options trading, longer term stuff, where you could spend your time researching companies, strategies, patterns, whatever. If you're more of a quick kind of gambler type, then quick scalping type trading, day trading, but scalping is maybe more suited for you. But it's also the instrument. Some people, you start with stocks, but stocks can be really fast paced. So, try other instruments is kind of the point that I'm trying to get to here. Try forex, try options trading. Try, obviously, stick with regular trading, equities, futures. Like what I've done. And until you really get exposure to each type of instrument and each strategy and style of trading, you're not really going to know. You may, just sign on to a specific style or strategy that, is cool, but it's not really you, and you're very, you find yourself being very anxious and nervous, and it's too much to handle. So then, maybe you need to look at other options, no pun intended, of course, but, look at other styles or instruments. And, this so far has been treating me very well. I haven't looked at stocks recently just because, I've been so focused on this. And also because I do like having just one thing to look at every day and deal with. With stocks, you have to find the stocks, filter out what's good, what's not good, find the levels. And once again, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's something you like doing and it gets your get your goat or whatever, then go for it. Hell, you know what? That's great. Me personally, I've done it for so many years and struggled with it, and always ended up, on the losing side of these trades. I said, you know what? I gotta find something else that I can try, and that's been the future so far. And look, I'm gonna go back to stocks. I don't know what's going to happen. For right now, I'm just following with what I have found to work well for me. And this may change in a month. I don't know. I hope it doesn't change in a month, because I want to find something, stick with it that I like, and just go to town with it. But hey, that's part of life. That's the beauty of life, is you get to try different things and experience different things, and find what speaks to you and what works best for you. So with that said, I'm going to stop this recording right here. Hope everyone has a great day. Be mindful of the 2 o'clock FOMC meeting. See for some possible volatility, and we'll see how the market goes from there. It'll either get a nice big move up, down, or it'll go nowhere. We'll see. Anyways, everyone have a great day, and I'll chat with you tomorrow. Take care.